Hi everyone, I'm Laura Gadenik and I'm a therapist and an astrologer, and I'm here to give you the astrology for the weeks of April 15th through the 28th, 2024. And I'll be offering some therapeutic perspective as well. So starting today on Monday the 15th, we have Mercury, who is currently retrograde in Aries, conjoining with Chiron, an asteroid about wounds, what hurts, what is sensitive, what brings anxiety. And this isn't new. We've been navigating these waters for the last several weeks. So think back to March 20th. That's the first date that Mercury, moving in a direct motion, made a conjunction with Chiron. So we're revisiting conversations that might have started around then. And we're going to be continuing to have conversations around something that hurts or something that's sensitive or painful or anxiety inducing. And the third time that Mercury is going to conjoin with Chiron after Mercury stations direct and starts moving forwards again is on May 6th. So we're still in this sea of navigating tender parts and tender things. And it might have to do with relationship issues, as we've been having eclipses in the signs of Aries and Libra, which is the axis having to do with relationships, right? A Libra is about what do we want, partnership, agreements, and Aries is very much so about me, what do I need, what do I desire in relationships, and just what's best for me. So yeah, we're going to be this week in general, and specifically, there's going to be lots of, I think, conversations in relationships about agreements and feelings and just navigating things that are a bit more tender. So Wednesday the 17th, Venus in Aries makes a conjunction with the North Node. Venus in Aries is more forthright about desires and pleasures and desires for pleasure and desires in relationships. Venus is a planet about relationships, pleasure, fun, joy, as well as women. You might notice an increase in pleasure or desire or in pursuing a relationship, or Venus also represents art, creativity, things that are collaborative. So there might also be an increase in networking, in collaborating with someone, in partnerships forming, whether that be romantic or just business partnerships as well. So that's Wednesday the 17th. And you might also notice just like an increased desire to like flaunt a little bit more. Venus in Aries isn't shy about being out there with style or values, or even like this isn't related to style, but like women's rights. Venus represents women, so there might be kind of an increase or a growth in wanting to promote something that you value regarding women and women's rights and sexuality and sex and things like that. So that's Wednesday the 17th. Friday the 19th, Venus conjoins with Mercury, who's once again retrograde. So we're having healing conversations. We're having sweet words exchanged with each other. There's going to be, once again, this is a day where there might be more conversations around relationships, around values, desires, needs in relationships, agreements, partnerships. And also Venus, once again, is about beauty and art and pleasure. So generally speaking, you might have some ideas. Mercury represents the mind as well as communications. You might have some ideas around creativity or around what's beautiful. It's a really great day to do some writing. If you're a writer, really, there's a lot of creative flow on this day. And you might just have ideas or thoughts that inspire beauty or cohesiveness. So it's a really, really nice day. On the same day, the sun heads into Taurus, so we are officially starting Taurus season. And Taurus is a sign, it's a fixed earth sign. Fixed signs are signs that are in the middle of a season. So it's the middle of spring. There's an endurance quality to Taurus. There's a earthiness. There's a groundedness. We're maybe starting to move into exploring the more sensual parts of life and more the bodily sensual components of life, and how those can be really enjoyable. There's more to say about the sun in Taurus, but that's what I'll say for now. And on the same day, so still Friday the 19th, Mars in Pisces makes a sextile to Jupiter and Uranus, who are about to come together at the end of the week. And I'll say something about that in a moment. But Mars is a planet about action, how we take action, how we move towards what we want, how we move towards creating our desires. Jupiter is a planet about healing, faith, and belief, and peace. Uranus is breakthroughs, doing things differently, doing things outside of the box. So this really feels like a day where there's a lot of inspiration to do things differently and to feel inspired and courageous and brave and thinking outside of the box and doing something new and just trying it out. And, you know, it's a sextile. You might not really notice this energy. It's more about kind of taking advantage of it. So that's Friday the 19th. Saturday the 20th, so just the next day, Jupiter makes that conjunction with Uranus. A conjunction is when two planets come together in the sky. And we've been building towards this conjunction all year since Jupiter moved into Taurus last year in May. So actually for an entire year, since Jupiter entered Taurus last May of 2023, Jupiter's been building up to this conjunction with Uranus. So this is a really big moment. It doesn't happen often. I'm trying to think like what the cycle, I don't know off the top of my head, but Jupiter, Uranus probably don't come together. They probably come together like once every 15, maybe like almost 20 years. So it's a really big deal actually. And so this is really about a time of inspired breakthroughs. Where have you felt stuck? Where have things not been working? Where have you been working really hard? This is an aspect of something changing for the positive, changes that are, expansive and bring peace and healing and cohesiveness. And it's a really positive moment. And so even though this is happening on the 20th, this energy, when planets come together in a conjunction, it's kind of like a new moon. It's not necessarily that everything happens all at once on that day. It's that's the seeding moment for these changes and these breakthroughs and these healing outside of the box, maybe changing your mindset, changing your belief or perspective on something. It's going to play out and take time. Sometimes things, there might be big things that happen on that day or a couple days before, a couple days after. Definitely pay attention to that. But these changes, these breakthrough moments, these inspired growth, it's going to be playing out over the next several weeks, maybe even the next several months. So yeah, it's a really exciting moment. Sunday the 21st, Venus conjoins Chiron in Aries. So remember, Chiron is that ouchy, wounded, things that are sensitive part of us that we're navigating. And Venus is relationships, beauty, love, sex, connection. So this might be a moment where there's some healing around those themes. So some healing around the sticky things having to do with love, sex, connection, beauty, your own sense of worth and value, how maybe beautiful or attractive you deem yourself or find yourself. There could be some healing around that as well. It could kind of highlight the ouchiness in love and relationships. Also, I don't know if you hear my cat's crying right now, so sorry if you hear that. But Venus conjunct Chiron can either bring healing to those things that hurt around love, connection, relationships, your sense of value or worth, or it can kind of just bring it up to the surface to be discussed and talked about and revealed so that healing can be had. On the same day, the sun, so this is still Sunday the 21st, the sun in Taurus makes a square to Pluto. This, I think, really helps with that Venus-Chiron conjunction in terms of helping us get to the bottom of things and uncover what's really going on and to be courageous in having conversations around these situations and issues that we might be experiencing. Pluto is a planet about getting to the bottom of things, like what's been hidden, what needs to be revealed, what needs to be explored that we've maybe been putting underneath the rug, or maybe too nervous or shy or scared to talk about. So yeah, it's a good day to look beneath the surface and find the origin of the wound, and maybe even questioning the validity of any beliefs or stories that you have around, things like any fears you might have around connection or sex or beauty, or how you express your own sense of beauty. What are those fears? Are they valid? Fears are valid, but they're always connected to a story, and do they make sense? And that's what I mean by valid. Like, or are we feeding our fears and letting them kind of dictate and control our world, right? So that is some things to look out for and work with, and kind of how to use the energy on that day. On Thursday the 25th, Mercury stations direct. Yay. This is happening at 15 degrees of Aries. So Mercury retrogrades are always about reviewing, reflecting over, going back over, talking things out. We're not like making big decisions around when Mercury's in retrograde. We're not moving forward with things. We're researching, we're mulling over, we're reflecting on. And so when Mercury stations direct, it's kind of like we're taking all of that time that we've been researching and mulling things over, and finally like compiling that data and like moving forwards, actually. So that feels exciting. And it's likely going to be these themes we've been talking about around relationships, wounds in relationships, things that have been, hurting a little bit or a bit tender. So moving forwards around the conversations we've been having around those themes, as well as generally speaking, right? We just had an eclipse in Aries, and Aries is very much so about starting and initiating something. So it might be that you've been waiting to make moves on something, and you've been really wanting to initiate or start, or you've been eager to move forward with something, but you haven't had all the information, or you've been held back for whatever reason. So this feels like a time to, starting on Thursday the 25th, to start moving forward with those ideas and those plans and putting them into motion. So that's really exciting. And then on Sunday the 28th, Mars makes a conjunction with Neptune. Mars is about action, taking action, how we're motivated, doing things. And Neptune is a planet about the dream, what we yearn for, long for. It's a planet about compassion as well as water, which is kind of random. But Mars can sometimes be, it's a malefic planet, meaning it's not that it can be difficult. It can be tough. It can indicate things that are challenging. So sometimes the astrology literally manifests in like a very physical way. So like something that comes to mind with Mars Neptune is like water damage or something like that. So like something that's difficult. So, and it really depends on where these transits are showing up in your chart. Like for instance, if this was happening in your, like triggering your fourth house of home, it could be like, oh, water damage, like in your basement or something like that. But that's very specific. But generally speaking, right, Mars is action, Neptune is the dream. And so this might be a day where you're more inspired to take action on something that is inspiring for you, or that kind of like moving towards a vision or a dream or something you've been longing for. And also just a day to do more compassionate acts, volunteering in some capacity, donating, giving away money if you have those resources, or doing things that get you in kind of a flow state. That is Neptune. Neptune wants to like dissolve your personal ego and connect you with the oneness of the universe. So whether that's through meditation, or like for me, it's through dance and singing, But maybe for you, it's through writing or reading, or, Neptune wants us to escape this reality. So finding like positive, healthy ways to do that is really great. Maybe like binge watching some fantasy movies or reading some fantasy books. If you're someone who struggles with things like addiction or mental health issues like depression, this could be a bit more of a challenging day. So definitely reach out for any supports. If you have a therapist, reach out to them. If you have a safety plan, like take a look at that, because Neptune can kind of drag us into the depths of despair as well. So just being mindful of where you're at mentally and emotionally. And how can you utilize this energy? How can you give yourself a break from being in this world without like being detrimental to your health and well-being and your relationships? And so finding healthy ways to just relax. So okay, so that is the astrology for the next couple weeks. There's still a lot going on. We're still like, we just had eclipses and Mercury's stationing direct in the next couple weeks. And so we're still kind of like in eclipse, like we're still kind of like in the eclipse a little bit, and kind of coming out of that intense energy and maybe integrating it a little bit. So take care of yourselves. And if you're interested in how this astrology shows up for you personally, I'm open for consultations. Please reach out. Otherwise, I hope you have a beautiful couple of weeks, and I'll be back soon with another astrological update. Take care.